Hello guys, my name is Khan, and actually in today's video I will show you guys that how you can use IBM SPSS. So when you install IBM SS, IBM SS will automatically create this shortcut for you. So I will just going to double click this IBM SS statistical tool. So before going ahead, I will show you guys that wha- uh, for what reason you can use IBM SS. Actually, this SPSS is a statistical tool, and most of the time, mostly it's designed in a way for users which have less coding experience, like people who are doing research in social sciences. So, because SPSS is designed in such a way that you can do complex calculations or analysis with just few clicks away, and you don't need to do some coding behind it. You can do coding in SPSS, but mainly SPSS is designed in a way to do complex analysis computations without coding. So suppose if you are you are a historian and you want to analyze the data, and you don't have coding experience, then SPSS is the best tool. But if you are good in coding, then there are other tools like R and Stata, which give you more variety of doing things, because in SPSS most of the things you can do by going these options that have provided, and you can click and you can use those options. So before going ahead, as I open my SPSS, you can see that SPSS have shown me these two tabs, variable view and data view. So what are the data view and what is the variable view? I will show you guys. In the data view, you can actually directly enter the data to or edit the data. So suppose if I want to enter data here, so suppose if I enter 1 2, so one thing to note is as I started entering data, SPSS has given a variable name automatically. So if I keeps on entering data, so I have entered the data in first 4 rows, and suppose here I added the data related to some so it's maybe B, C, and D, and again I will enter some numeric value, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one more variable. Suppose it's a price variable, 1 2 3 4 5 6 500 600. So these are the 4 variables that I have. So as you can see that SPSS have automatically have given some variable names, but you can edit those variables. In order to edit those variable names, you can go to variable view. So once you go to variable view, you can see that all the variables that I have created in my data view are shown here in my variable view. And so suppose if I want to give this first variable name as ID, second variable name, if I go back, you can see my variable name got updated automatically. And if I go my variable view, my second variable is suppose category. So it's my category variable, and then I can see that okay, maybe this variable is question number 1 response, and the second variable is, you can call it price variable. So, and now in the variable view, as I have shown you guys that I have edited my variable names in my variable view, but there are also many other options like type of the variable. So if you click the type and if you click these three dots, you can select variable type. So it can be numeric, comma, dot, date, dollar, string. So I want to keep it numeric. So for me it's fine. So I will click OK, and you can see that when I entered ABCD here, so the SPSS have automatically given it a string, which is right, that because this variable is capturing strings, not numeric. And even question number 1 and question number the price variable are both automatically assigned numeric type. The type means that which kind of data it will capture. So if it's capturing numbers, so it will be assigned numeric. If it's capturing strings, then it will be assigned a string. So another thing here, you can see the width is that about how much is the column width will be. Suppose if I increase it, probably the data view will increase the width. As you can see that width start increasing. I can increase. So this is the kind of thing that, and then also we have a decimal. Decimal means that how many decimal places we can see. Here it is written as 2. So if I go here, as you can see that 2 decimal places are shown here. And here is an important option, which is the label option. Label option means that you want to label these variables. So why we need to label our variables? Suppose if question number 1 is not telling me what is it's capturing. Suppose question number 1 is telling us about age of respondent. So age of respondent, so question number 1 is labeled as age of respondent. So suppose if I do any computation on question number 1, so when SPSS will show me the results, it will not show me question number 1. It will show me, suppose if I want to know the frequency of numbers in question number 1, then SPSS will show me the frequency of age of respondent. So it will, when I will read the result, it will be a bit easier for me to know for which kind of questions frequencies I am getting. So it's more like when you report the result, this label will appear on your result. Suppose if there is no label assigned to a variable name, then variable name will appear. Otherwise, SPSS will show the variable label. Then we have this values option, which is also very important option. I will cover these. Actually, these are the value labels, which I will go is probably in my later videos more in detail about this option. And then it's telling us that is there any missing in our data or not. Actually, we don't have any missing variable. Then we have column width. You can also increase it here. If I go here, as you can see, my category variable width increased. Now this option is that just like Excel, you can also align. So suppose if this thing is, as you can see, is right aligned. So suppose if I want to make it left aligned, you can change it simply. And if you go back to data view, you can see that ID variable got left aligned, whereas the question number 1 and price is right aligned. After that, it's also a very important option, because sometimes you have to decide by your on your own that what is the measure of that variable. Is it a scale variable? Scale variables are most like continuous variable. So suppose in our case, price variable is a continuous variable, so you can call it scale, because price can be anywhere from 0 to maybe infinity. It can be in decimals too. So price can be $25.99. Whereas the second option, which is the ordinal option, ordinal category means that the numbers are ranked. Suppose question number 1 is the age of respondent. So if I go to here, the question number 1 is the age of respondent, which can take numbers as 1, 2, 3, 4. So number 2 and number 3 are showing that there is an increment between 2 and 3. Uh, whereas the category variable A, B, and C don't have any. It's more like a categorical variable. That's why it's named as nominal. So categorical variables are labeled as are measured as nominal, whereas the variable like age, which are incremental way, or age or education are considered as ordinal variable. So if you guys want to know about how you have to select the measure of the variable, you can also Google it. So as I said, the age and variables like number of years of education are considered as ordinal, and variables like price are considered as scale. And I think it's very important that you select the right measure of variables, because when you will be doing computations, so SPSS will consider these the type of measure, and then will do the analysis. So maybe if suppose if you have selected question number 1, the age of respondent as scale variable, so it can impact your results in the end. So make sure that what are the kind of measure option that you have selected for each variable. After that, I will show you guys that you can also see that there are different options here. So file options you can use to export database, import database. Then we have this edit option, which you can use to insert variable, clear variables. Then we have different view. You can also change the style of the view of the windows. I usually work with the same view which is currently showing on the screen. Then we have this data option, which is very important to actually this data option, which allows you to manipulate the data. There are many options like merge files, sort variables, sort cases. So these are very, very important options, especially in terms of manipulating the data. And then we have this transform, which will allow you to compute new variables and other very important options like creating a time series. I think probably we will go to these options more in detail in our later videos, but I'm just giving you a review. And this option is very, very important, that if you want to run different analysis like correlation, regression analysis, want to do some frequency tables, descriptive statistics. So these options are, this analyze tab is more if you want to make some analysis over your data. And then this option is, I have never used this option. Then we have a very graphic option if you want to draw plots or graphs by the help of data, by the help of SPSS. Then we have utilities, which can allow you to define variable set, data file commands. As I said that I'm just giving a short review. We'll go into these details in more in later video. Then we have an add-on option if you like to add an extra package which is not already installed in SPSS. You can also use these add-ons options too. Again, I will go back to my data view. As I said that SPSS allows you to do analysis by the help of just few or by clicking some options, and in SPSS it's you can do in SPSS you can do coding, but most of the time user use the options to these options that SPSS provide to do analysis. Therefore, whenever you run the analysis, you have to make sure that data is in the right format. So otherwise you can get an error. So it's better that whenever you run an analysis, make sure that the data is in the right format. That suppose ID variable is actually an ID variable, don't have a string observations in it. So, and price variable is properly priced and don't have any wrong entries in it. and the variable view in the variable, the properties of the variables are rightly assigned in order to make sure that your analysis are going to the right direction. And actually, this is the short overview about the SPSS, and thank you for watching.